Perfect. All right, you guys, thank you. Welcome to the Art of Attraction. This is going to be such a beautiful, beautiful, I don't know, more like, again, more tangible uh, class today because it's interesting when we think about attraction. I'm sure a bunch of different words kind of come up as far as like what that feels like and what that looks like. And today I want to make it so that it actually feels really clear for you so you can actually utilize it when you're out in the wild and attracting the people that you want. There is three key components that we're going to go over today that kind of comprise the art of attraction. And yeah, so if you have any like thoughts or questions or anything comes up, use the chat box. If you are catching this in the replay, I just invite you to act as if you are here with us and just answer the questions as we go along. And trying to think if there's anything else, housekeeping stuff. I think that's it. Okay, so what is the definition of attraction? Let's just start there. So the definition of attraction is action or power of evoking interest, pleasure, or liking for something or someone. Okay. What I thought was interesting about this definition was it wasn't just about like action, right? It was the power of evoking interest or pleasure in something. So when you meet a man, what do you think creates that initial attraction for you? Go ahead and use the chat box to share. What are you initially attracted to? Like, what makes you be like, yummy, I want that? Wit, a beard. How do you know me? I'm here for a beard. Literally, my husband's beard was like down to here when I'm at. Anyway, teach his own. But yeah, so wit, that's great. But see, like, let's start a little bit sooner than wit because if you are attracted to them, typically, maybe you see them first. So, what would like, before you get a chance to engage with them, is there anything that would attract you to them to want to engage with them? Yeah, physical, could be muscles, it could be height, it could be eyes, the way that their hair moves. I would like to say yes, but if you look at my exes, they're all so different. Yeah, but there's maybe a component to them that you find attractive, or maybe just because they're men. Maybe you just are attracted to the fact that they are just a man. Dark skin, beard, muscles, tall, dark skin for sure. Yes, we're here for the dark skin brothers. Okay. Sorry, husband. Um, So it's funny, like when we initially are attracted to someone, there's some components that would open us up to want to engage with them, right? So then what holds your attention? That's the second piece. So obviously, Ariel, you said wit at one point. Is that something that you think kind of holds you or keeps you captivated there? Right? Yeah. What else? Humor. Absolutely. If a man has like a high pitched voice, does it make you want to keep engaging with them? Yes or no? It doesn't have to like there's like there's there's no judgment here, but there are some things that just feel more attractive, right? And will keep you there longer. Banter, right? So there's something about the engaging in the conversation that leads you to wanting more, that holds and captivates your attention. And that's a part of attraction. So let's flip this around. Um, it's interesting for, yeah, okay, so let's flip this around actually first. What do you believe creates the initial attraction for you? Like a man towards you? Smile? Yeah, absolutely. Smile. What else? Probably your physical appearance, the way your hair moves, right? Body, yada, 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 yada. Yes, right? Absolutely. There's something about your physical form. They're just like, want to bite. I want to taste. And yeah, and so what do you think helps them hold what holds their attention? What keeps them there? Your body may be great, but like if you're like, oh my God, like, I don't know, like maybe that's not their thing. Or maybe it is, who knows? Character traits, wit, sarcasm, the volley back and forth, that little banter, the confidence, yes. I see we had eye contact here as well as like getting people like the initial attraction. Yeah. Okay. So, what is kind of a running theme around this? What do you think feels familiar in both you being attracted to someone and someone being attracted to you? Similar answers, yeah. Yep. This idea of like, ooh, what's over there? Probably something that has to do or corresponds with your tastes or your preferences, right? Your previous experiences and relationships that made you know that like, oh, I really like banter. I really like, I really like this back and forth. I like, I like a little grit or whatever. If they're too placating, maybe that doesn't feel that great. If they feel too desperate or needy, maybe that doesn't feel that good. And vice versa, right? When we can be a little too much or too needy or clingy or like desperate, men don't really stay very long. So what's really interesting, if we kind of break this down, so we're going to go back to you finding a man attractive. Typically, a lot of things that you said, whenever it creates an initial attraction, but really what it is like it's body language, physical appearance, it's their cues. The cues that let you know, like, ooh, this is like something that feels like the survival of the fittest. I would make really good babies with this person because look how cute they are. Typically a lot of times it's obviously it's way more fundamental and way more like rudimentary based when it comes to attraction. It's chemical, it's hormonal. What would allow me to procreate the best and have the best outcomes? And typically strength, height, certain physical characteristics, those are the things that attract us. And then what holds our attention is like their eye contact with us, right? Their focus on us. Oh, I like how like me doing a thumbs up did the little bubble. Um, their focus on us, their clarity and their attentiveness, the way that they may like touch our arm or something or our shoulder if it feels safe, like things like that, feeling safe in their presence. So it's interesting how initially what attracts us to them is the feminine aspect of their characteristics, the things that are unspoken, things that are just innately theirs and innately belong to them. And then when we get up close, it's their masculinity that shows through, that makes us feel really good in their presence, right? So it's their confidence, it's their clarity, it's their connection with us, it's their attentiveness, it's their desire to talk and to choose us. Because if you saw a man, he came up to you and then all of a sudden he was like talking to you, but then talking to like three other women, you'd be like, well, I don't know about that. Unless, and we'll get to this a little bit later, unless you have a little bit of toxic femininity in you and you thrive off of competition. Okay. And then you want that, like, then that toxic trait kind of comes out. Well, I'm trying to beat these other women. But the truth is that when you're fully present in yourself and you know what you got, then when he's attentive and showing you interest, it feels really safe and good to engage and stay with. But if he isn't, if he has a wandering eye and you just met him, then it's like, okay, I'm good. Like I'm really not attracted to this anymore. You may look, what is it, a Mona Lisa? Good from afar, but far from good. Like I'm okay. Um, Now in converse, with the feminine, so what initially attracts us to men, which is actually contrary to what we believe. So we were kind of saying that like this idea that like it's our body, it's these physical attributes and all the things. And yes, that is a component to it. There has to be at least initial physical attraction. However, with a healthy masculine, the thing that attracts them the most is the opening. is the basically your invitation in. So this is with your eye contact, your kind of lingering gaze, your smile directed at him and only him, your focus, your intent. So when now he has an opening and he can come to you, now you can actually go into the opposite, which is, who am I authentically? Authentically, I'm smiley, I'm giddy, I'm playful, I'm curious, I have questions, I'm just like whatever. So what we want to take note of here is that in the beginning, like this all is leading us to my first like big point, which is polarity. Because in the very beginning, you are directing your energy towards him in a masculine way to invite him into you. And then from there, you get to be yourself. Now, for him, he's just being himself. And if you spot him from afar, then like you're attracted to him and you hope maybe he comes over. Or if you're, boss bitch, you just go over and you introduce yourself. But there has to be some sort of it's like his feminine is kind of the thing that's alluring you. His authentic nature is what kind of piqued your interest. And the truth is that, say you're sitting at a bar or whatever, and we'll get into some kind of like, um, not case studies, but we'll get into some like examples. But if you're sitting at a bar and a man is attractive and he comes up to you and you really didn't have the invitation or you really weren't prepared to receive him, yes, you may be like, oh, okay, this is great or whatever. But it still feels a little unsafe because there wasn't really that invitation. It was just kind of you're just kind of like bombarded. And now it feels almost like, okay, well, he's the only one who's here. So maybe I just talk to him. There's no real choice in it. And the powerful thing about attraction, especially for the feminine, is your ability to choose. So here is why we'll get into this. Do you have any questions for right now? Do you understand like kind of the difference? Because like we think that it's like our beauty and all the things that kind of bring men in, and that is a part of it, but it's really our decision that like, yes, like you're the thing. I'm like excited about you. I want to choose you. Um, because we have to think about this, it all mimics nature, right? Nature is that the female gets like peacocked at, and then she does the choosing. So we want to kind of keep that in mind when we're thinking about attraction. It's less about you being chosen, but you doing the choosing. And I'll explain why as we get into this. So our number one aspect of attraction is polarity. Now, polarity is a state of having two opposite aspects, which is like the masculine and feminine, or it's the way that magnets work, right? You have two opposite ends and then they attract each other. When the ends are the same way, they repel each other. This is why you can't have two alphas in a pack. There's no way that it would sustain itself because two people are fighting for like authority or leadership or the masculine role, we'll say. Somebody has to take on the feminine role. It's the only way that dynamics work. And you'll even notice this in homosexual relationships, in same-sex couples. There's always someone that carries a little bit more feminine energy than the other because that's how polarity works. It's not really about gender. It's not really about like, your it's not really about like your sexual preference. It's about the energy underneath it. Is there a way to have alphas with each willing to submit at times? Yeah, interesting question. So, yes and no. So okay. Um, yes, in the sense that like there's no part of any of us as women here on this call. Most of the women that I attract in my world, we're all alpha women, and so I know that sometimes hearing that there can't be two alphas in a pack feels like a little jarring because you're like, but I'm a strong woman, I like being a leader, I like taking control. Do that in your business. Do that in other areas of your life, but in your home life with your partner, it actually feels way safer when you're supported. It actually feels way safer when you are nurtured and taken care of and receiving. So if you have to be an alpha everywhere, it's actually going against nature. So you want to think about that aspect of it. So yes, you can still be an alpha woman, but like an alpha woman actually, so that's why there's a beta, right? The beta isn't because she isn't there because she is weak or he's weak or whatever, when we're talking about the pack. It's just that the beta can't, there has to be one guide, but the beta still has input. The other one's just executing. So I can be an alpha, but just not in my relationships. If that's what you want. If you want to stay the alpha, then you're gonna attract a beta male. And if that feels safe for you, then great. There's nothing wrong with having a man who likes to receive, who likes to be cherished, who likes to be adored. But that ain't my man. Like I still do that for him, but it's different. It's in a supportive kind of it's in a supportive container because he also gives to me. I'm not the only one giving, right? And that's what can happen in these like toxic relationships. Okay. So, a better way to understand this is understanding more clearly about the masculine and the feminine. We talk a lot about this, but like let's just go into it again to get more clarity around it. So, the healthy masculine is doing energy, okay? Doing energy. It is clear, focused, intentional. It's leadership qualities. It provides a safe container. It is a protector, a provider, listener, kind, goal-oriented, present. That one's huge. It's very present. It's very present energy. Honest, responsible, non-judgmental, and confident. Okay. So when you think about as you are going out into the wild, I really want you to hold this list as like your like standard, you know, because this is what a healthy masculine is, and he will maintain the frame for a majority of the time. Now, not everybody's going to be there. We're humans, we have wounds and we get triggered. So there are times that we fall out of our healthy selves, and that's okay. You just want to make sure that they're this most of the time. We're talking at least 80 to 90%. um, so a toxic masculine or a wounded masculine energy is violent, aggressive, or passive, withdrawn. Yeah, I can. Um, I can actually even type it in like whenever I give you guys the replay and everything like that, I'll just type it up and send it to you. Um, Withdrawn, passive, judgmental, overtly sexual, like kind of very focused on physical pleasure, competitive, controlling, entitled, isolated, low empathy, and like vastly independent. So this is why you'll find sometimes, because if you think about like one of the, what do you call it? Like we'll say placeholders when you think of toxic masculinity is like a narcissistic personality type, right? They're loners, they rarely have any friends, very independent, steamroll everybody else's ideas, very aggressive, can be very passive aggressive, um, like act like they don't have emotional experiences, very sexual. So you can kind of use that as a framework for what it feels like to be around toxic masculine energy. Now, you don't have to find a narcissist in order to be engaged with the toxic masculine. Again, these are just how wounds show up. It's the shadow side of each of our energy sources. So now let's get into the feminine. A healthy feminine is open, intuitive, nurturing, creative, connected. She's playful, sensual, receiving, compassionate, magnetic. She's trusting, she feels safe, she's supported, she's loving and soft, radiant, fluid, and dynamic. The feminine, the healthy feminine, surpasses logic because she's so led deeply by her intuition. It's just in flow. You can't really anticipate where she's going to go. She has strong boundaries, although she is surrendered, and she's effortless. It's easy. She's just in her being. So again, kind of going back to if you witness somebody from across the room and they're just kind of like in their own world, it just is so magnetic. You're like, what's going on over there? They just seem so taken, like they just seem so present and just like themselves. Like how wonderful is that? And it feels so good to witness. So a toxic feminine is insecure, manipulative, needy, codependent, overly emotional, and victim. So based off of these lists, have you fallen into your toxic feminine, your wounded feminine, or even your wounded masculine? Because remember, we have both sets of energies. Have you ever fallen into the wounded states? And what typically triggers those wounded states? So let's just identify some of the reasons why they would come out. So what do you think would trigger? We'll go start with the wounded masculine. What would trigger your wounded masculine? Your aggressiveness, your competitiveness, your controlling attitude, um, your feeling like isolated or hyper independent, your judgment. What would trigger you into that state? Yeah, when I don't feel safe. Yep, exactly. Period. Yep, when I don't feel safe. Yeah, it's actually really that simple. Especially for us as women, like we will fall into that aspect because now we have to take on the masculine and almost overcompensate for it. And it makes us angry and resentful. So then we get aggressive and controlling and manipulative and all these things. Okay, so same thing with the wounded feminine. When do you feel like you fall into that? She is insecure, manipulative, needy, codependent, victimy. Yeah, oh, that's good. Same answer, but more specifically when the trust is broken. Yes. Right, because now it's like we feel like we're all on an island on our own, but we don't want to be. So we try to grasp for um any like flotation devices we can, which is why we manipulate or we try to control the outcome or we, maybe become over people pleasers, get really insecure. This is when we would like be a little bit more jealous because we're like, I don't really trust what's going to happen and I can't be in my full playfulness. I can't be in my full, like my full openness. It's not safe here. There's no trust here. So absolutely, when trust is broken. So understanding that these are some of the key things will trigger you into the opposite. So if you ever experiencing the unhealthy versions of yourself, check in with yourself. Well, where am I not really feeling very trusting of this relationship? Why don't I trust this person? Why don't I feel safe here? So that way you can identify, well, if it's an energy thing between the two of you, then maybe they're not your person. A lot of times, especially if we um even when we're experiencing the toxic traits of our energy source, we will stay in a relationship for whatever reason, right? We'll just stay there even though we know it doesn't feel good, but we stay there because of the wounded feminine. She needs somebody. She can't be by herself. She needs that life raft because she doesn't really believe that she can survive on her own. And that's a lot of the wounded feminine. She does not feel like she feels unsafe even in her own ability to survive. And that's a lot of what her safety comes from. And then with the masculine, his unsafety or that version of us are becomes unsafe because we feel like we have to live this life alone, right? So it's still kind of the same coin, just different sides. Does that make sense? Feel pretty fairly clear? Okay. Okay. So let's see. My toxic trait in the past that you have helped me get over is staying to get back at them. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I've been there too, where it's just like, I'm going to make you hurt as much as I've hurt you. And it's interesting in that component, that's like actually both of the wounds showing up at the same time, right? So you stay because the feminine is like, I need this relationship for whatever reason. And then the masculine version of you is like, so I can fuck you over because I'm gonna get you. And so yeah, and it's so interesting because it's so out of character for us it feels like you're almost out of body. Like I I hate whenever I drop into my wounded nature because it doesn't feel like me at all. I feel like I'm being hijacked, really. But I have no control because it's like it's almost because if your nervous system isn't regulated, it's a triggered response, it's a trauma response. You know, all of these things stem from trauma. There was a time when you were a child and you didn't feel safe. You didn't feel safe with your masculine anchor, which is probably your dad. You didn't feel safe being around your mom, is a feminine anchor. So you learned and you witnessed the way that their dynamic was, and you created a story about it because you were a child. So now you think that this is just how relationships are, and it doesn't feel safe in your body, even though this is how you think it is. So then you just kind of stay because you think this is what it's supposed to be. What else is there? What else is there? I've never seen any other examples of this. And so now we're in this like perpetuating cycle. This is why generational trauma is like a real thing, because there is no, the cycle has to be broken somewhere, or else you just keep perpetuating the same thing that was modeled for you. Modeling is like the strongest form of learning. So it's so important. That's why I love when I get to work with you guys. Like, you guys are the cycle breakers. I got to be a cycle breaker for my family. I'm still trying to break the cycle. You know what I mean? So you guys get to do the same for you and for your children. It gets to like, and what's so powerful about that, for your parents too. Because now if you become the example, if you become the model, they have something new to look towards. Like, oh, wow, it worked for them. Why can't it work for me? So, our number 2 point with attraction is clarity. Now, this one to me is it's so interesting because I feel like I've had all you guys, if you've ever been in my world or whatever, I've had you make a list of some sort. Y'all have made lists. We have done the list. Now, for some reason though, you have your list, it's clear as day. And then the moment you get involved with someone, the list just like all of a sudden magically doesn't exist anymore. And it's like, oh, bye-bye list. It doesn't, where'd it go? It doesn't even matter. So like, what do you think throws you out of your clarity? What makes you ignore your list, even though it is fucking clear, crystal clear? He a good man. That list, oh, he a good man. Yummy, delicious, kind, loyal, has your back. And then the moment you meet some scrub, you're like, oh, what's the list? The initial attraction, or like whirlwind, yes, thank you. Loneliness, yes. So I like these two different answers because it's actually really, really powerful. Lack of worth. Yeah, absolutely. Right. So we have the initial attraction, the whirlwind, right? What the possibility of what it could be, right? The potential, which is a very masculine sort of vision, right? I know what I want. The potential is here for this thing. I'm going to get sucked up into this whirlwind without actually taking the time to see if it is matching my vision. And then the other version is the feminine side, the feeling side of it all. Do I deserve this? Can I have this? Um, will it ever show up for me? So in both of these cases, it's the masculine and the feminine working together. We have the vision of what you want, and some, what I like to call them, I like to call them mirages. When we know it's not it, but it looks like it could be, right? But there ain't no water there. You just think there is. So the mirage of what it could be is the whirlwind attraction, that initial attraction. It's like, oh my gosh, hot and heavy, blah, blah, blah. And then the woundedness of who you are actually encourages the mirage to come to fruition more clearly, because now you may be projecting your neediness onto this person. He could be actually a healthy person, but because of your feelings about it and because of your fears, you may project that into it. So now the polarity is out of whack. It's out of balance. You're not in, if he's a healthy masculine, if you've attracted a healthy masculine, you've had this initial whirlwind, a really good guy, he shows up, and then you come in with your neediness, it's not a match. Now, if he was an unhealthy masculine and you came in with your neediness, oh, it's a toxic match. It's beautiful. It's the most explosive, dynamic, fucked up situation you've ever been in. but if, but if you come in and they're a healthy masculine and they're holding the frame, and you also come in with your healthy feminine, well, then that is a match. So it's interesting. Sometimes we'll push away even good partners because of what we feel, because of our wounds, because it's not an energetic match. We cannot, the polarity is not sound there. I have this example. There's this one guy that I attracted way back in the day. I think it was probably like 23, 24. He was this military guy, super nice. He lived in Vegas. I lived in LA. And we just met out one day, and he actually would drive from Vegas to LA to come see me, and took me out to dinners and, like, all the things, but I was totally, like, in my toxic girl era, and, um, I just was, like, not I really wasn't that stable, like, financially, I wasn't stable, like, emotionally, I wasn't stable, there was, like, a lot of questioning, all the things, and so he just I was not a match for him, and because he was a healthy person, and from what I know, because it's not like I'd spent that much time with him, but from what I witnessed, because he was healthy, he basically told me he drove all the way from LA, from Vegas when we were supposed to have a date. He like drove all the way from Vegas, came to my house, and basically said, "I'm actually gonna go pursue my ex again, and I just wanted to tell you in person." And I was like, well, that was super kind, and I guess, I can't be mad at you because you drove all the like, an hour and a half it was like 2, 3 hours away just to tell me that, you were breaking up with me, like, that could have been a phone call, but you didn't, you drove, you did the harder thing. So, like, I always respected him for that, and I couldn't really be mad even though I was sad, but the truth was is that we weren't a match. So, has that ever happened to you before where you maybe have attracted someone who seemed like they could have been fairly healthy, but because of where you were, it wasn't you maybe didn't see that they were healthy or, or maybe they weren't really attractive because they weren't toxic. We do that too, where it's like, "Oh, this is too stable." So, like, I just no thanks, because you're used to chaos. I would love yes, and I would love to say yes, but no. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that sometimes we aren't even aware that we attracted someone who was actually, a healthy person because of what we're used to. And so we may have actually, tagged it as a lack of attraction, right? Well, I'm not attracted to them at all. There was something about it that was repelling you because of their healthy polarity, and you were unhealthy, so it wasn't a match, right? So we want to just be mindful of this too. Like, where are we? And I don't want you to, the clarity piece is about deciding what you get to have and deciding what you want based off of what you've already had and getting really dialed in and clear about that. And it's not to make you question, well, could this be? It will feel clear. When you're with that person, it feels clear. Eric felt very clear to me, very clear. Like shocking how clear it was. Because I never experienced that level of clarity before with a partner. But it was very clear. I didn't have to question. I always knew where I stood with him. Always. Um, okay. Any questions about clarity? Oh, another question about clarity. So like, you know, what did I ask before? What I asked before was, yeah, what throws you out of clarity when you meet someone. Okay, so then when you do have clarity, like, and you know that this isn't it, this is not anyone that matches your list, what gets you to stay? What keeps you in there? I mean, obviously, Ariel, you said to get back at them at one point, but what else keeps you there? What makes you stay? Yeah, potential, fixing, yes. The feminine doesn't need to fix. Lack of self-trust. Yeah, absolutely. I just appreciate your honesty so much because it's so true and we all feel this. It's not just like you. I promise we all feel this way. So, when you don't trust yourself and or you feel like, well, maybe I'm that great and I can fix them, then it's again that problem with either the overconfident masculine or the underconfident feminine. Either way, it's unhealthy. What's so powerful about this is that this is the recipe for like trauma bonds. Do you know what I mean? So we talk about trauma bonds, which is basically this psychological attachment to a partner when it's kind of like hot or cold. And the hot and cold can come from, well, maybe I saw potential and it looks like it's getting better. And then they go back and they regress. But wait a second, I saw that there was potential. Maybe I can fix it again. So you kind of stay for that. And then because there's a part of you that needs to be needed, right? And that's where the bond is, the part of you that needs to do and fix. Yeah, absolutely. Bring him on screen. Um, and then the other piece is when you don't trust yourself and you don't trust that you get to have what you're asking for, you settle. Like, this is what it is. This is all that I get. And there becomes this like learned helplessness in it, where you don't really feel like you become powerless and you don't feel like you can get out of it. And that powerlessness also contributes to trauma bonds. So we have to realize that the toxic aspects or the wounded aspects of our energy systems, when when paired with another wound, with another wounded person, another wounded being, creates this really psychologically unhealthy attachment to each other. When you're dealing with two people who have, anxious attachment style or an avoidant attachment style, so it's like hot and cold, push and pull, it becomes a trauma bond in itself. So this is just again to give you the awareness that like you want to just hold true to what you've written down, what your clarity is, and just honor that. And this is what brings me into number 3. So number 3 is the confidence. Confidence is so beyond just like feeling good in your skin. Confidence is knowing that you get to have what you want. None of this works without confidence. So even the polarity of like the dynamic between being in your masculine to attract a man and then to shift into your feminine to allow him to um present himself to you is a confidence thing. You have to see with confidence that this is possible for me to go in and out of my energy sources because you do it all day long. When you're at work, you're in your masculine. But then there's those moments when you get creative pockets and then all of a sudden now you're in your feminine, you're in your flow and you're in your creative, you're like, "Whoa, I just had a flow state and I didn't even know like all the time went by." And then you get back into your masculine, you go handle your meetings and handle your businesses. We're doing this in and out every day. As a parent, you're doing it all the time. There are moments where you have to, obviously, you're responsible for a human being. So you're taking care of your child. And then there are times when you're like, ooh, I think it'd be really great to like puree my own meals for him because that feels like more fun and yummy and nourishing. So you drop into your feminine, you create this beautiful meal or like you create this beautiful source for your child. You create some new opportunity to play with them, to engage with them. So we're going in and out. The thing is that for some reason we can do this naturally and effortlessly in our careers often and in our like in our professional lives often for the most part and then as we're parents, but when it comes to like romantic partnerships we all of a sudden lose the ability to do this. It's almost like we only go in and out of the toxic aspects. Do I need to fix this? Do I need to control this? Wait, am I good enough? Am I enough? Do I have enough? Do I deserve to be here? So you go in and out of the toxic aspects of you. So I want you to have the confidence that goes along with your clarity, the confidence that goes along with your polarity to know that this you get to have what you want, that you get to have this. And the truth about this is that one thing that the masculine really loves when they're in pursuance is exclusivity, right? So they want to know like that you've chosen them. Okay, let's see. Why is it that there's more no's than yeses? Because exclusivity, baby. Exclusivity. Are you looking for multiple yeses? Are you looking for the one? Yeah, see, toxic. I love you, toxic. So yeah, no, I know. I see this is also part kind of that need for validation, or that need to be seen as like the prize is your masculine competitiveness coming out. Because the truth is that when you're fully embodying yourself, there is no competition because there is no one else like you. There's no competition. And so that is in itself is attractive. There's no competition. I'm just existing and you're going to find me attract like I chose you and then you're over here like talking to me. Like how awesome is that? Like, it gets to be that great, and the thing is that attraction goes for most things. It's not just romantically. We're talking about it romantically to make it a little bit more clear and substantial, but you can do the same thing for a job. You can do the same thing for, a friendship. Like, I'm choosing you, and I'm gonna wait for you to come to me, but I'm letting you know that I choose you, and now I'm gonna see if you're gonna choose me too. And there's nothing more attractive to, a healthy masculine than exclusivity. Now, there's nothing more attractive for a toxic masculine than competitiveness. So a healthy masculine will wait because you have to think about the masculine when he's healthy is clear and focused and direct and like responsible and intentional. So he's not going to just pursue you and just shower you with all this stuff if he knows that you really are not interested in him. He's not going to force himself onto you. Now, a toxic masculine, because they thrive off the competition, will. And so they'll throw out all the stocks, but it's really not about you. It's about competing for you. It's about making you the prize. So then what happens when they get the prize? See you later. They go ghost. I got what I wanted. I came for what I got. Like, whatever. And then you're left wondering, like, what the heck? They like did all this stuff. That's because their intention wasn't in it. The intention wasn't to have you. The intention was that you were the competition, like you were, I'm competing for you. You're the prize. So can you see the difference between the healthy masculine and a toxic masculine? Does that make sense? I know you guys all have examples of this happening in your life where you were like with someone, they like showed you everything up front. They were like throwing everything at you. You're like, well, I guess this must be great. Like, this is wonderful. They're like spoiling me. Like, I thought this is what I wanted. I'm being spoiled. And then the moment that they got the cookie, or the moment that they thought that they had you exclusively, now all of a sudden they like start to slowly do the fade. They just like jellyfish their way out of your life. And you're like, what happened? And now you're fucking fuming. That toxic part of you is like super like wants to hold on to this because you have to know why, what happened. That nothing really happened. It's not, you didn't do anything wrong. The only thing that happened was that their intention was met. So they're intentional, but in a negative way. Versus a healthy masculine is not trying to compete for you. He wants to know that you are interested, and then he will show you that he is deserving and worthy of your affection and attention. So this is why I always tell my clients, drop the hanky. Let a man know that you're interested through eye contact, through some sort of acknowledgement that I see you, some sort of invitation like I'm open to you coming to talk to me, which typically happens with a smile. You can literally just like have a gaze and smile and then look away and look back and then like do your thing. Like, it gets to be that simple, and that in itself is an invitation subconsciously to a man to approach you. And so when they do, now is when you kick into your feminine, because now they're here. You've drawn them in with your masculine, with your doing, your eye contact, your smiles, your intentionality, your focus. And now when they come to you, now it's about you being. You just get to be experienced by them, and they get to become their masculine healthy self with their presence and their questions and their like attentiveness towards you. Now their eye contact with you is actually more important. So this is how it feels in a healthy experiment. When you want to experiment with this. How do you show interest in the dating phase? Yeah. So okay, so if you're in person, if you're like say you're at a bar, in fact, we're gonna well yeah. Yeah, okay. So say you're at a bar and you walk into a room, you sit down, you get cozy, maybe you order your drink or whatever, and then you're just like looking around and you see a guy. You're like, "Oh, he's a cutie, I'm here for this." And then you just look at him. Just stare at him. No, don't be freaky. Do like one of those subtle looks where you're just like, you look, you smile, you look away, you look back again. Like, it gets to be like that sweet and that cute. And if they are available, because that's important too, then they will acknowledge the cues. If they're available and interested, they'll acknowledge the cues and they'll come over to you. And then from there, you drop into your feminine. So you just kind of let them take the lead. You let them ask you questions. You let them like get to know you. You know, all your whole MO was just to provide the opening and then allow them and then stay open whenever they're in your space. Now, the moment you feel like, so they come over and their voice sounds like David Beckham and it's like, hello, hi, I just wanted to say hi. And you're like, oh gosh, no, I can't. This is not attractive. I'm good. Or they come over and they got food in their teeth and crumbs in their beard and you're like, "Oh, that's just not it. Like I'm not here for this." So that's when your body language would also shut them down. Like, "Okay, thank you, but no, no thank you." And you could actually turn on your masculine here and just be clear. Actually, no, like, I'm actually not that interested. you know? Or excuse me, I'd like to go to the bathroom. Like, I'll see you later. So there's a way for you again to shift in and out of your masculine. When your masculine's there to make the decisions, your feminine's there to observe and experience. Does that make sense? Does that feel clear? And the way you would do this if you're like virtually dating is dropping the hanky. And this is where, like, especially as women, we get inundated with so many fucking messages, and most of them are just vagabonds, and most of them are scrubs, and they like just don't matter, which makes it really exhausting for us. So this is why, like I always say, you do the choosing. You go and find the ones you want to match with. Don't just go through your inbox. I mean, you can go through your inbox and see if there's anybody who's of potential, but like if you really want better results, you actually go and you go do the search, you go find the matches, and then from there you initiate the conversation just by saying, "Hi, I know we're a match, but like I'm actually really interested in you." And Bumble is a great way to do this because it already creates that barrier because they can't talk to you unless you engage first. So Bumble's actually a really great way to practice, I think, this whole hanky dropping technique. So you engage and you let them know, "Hi, I'm interested by based off of the things you said in your beautiful profile, and I think you're a cutie," or whatever you want to say. And then from there, you let them lead the conversation. Some men don't take no for an answer. Then what? You tell them no, get the fuck out my face. Your masculine really gets turned on. If it's like, if they are like really aggressive, then you know that they're toxic. And unless you want to be in a toxic relationship again, then you have to turn on your healthy masculine, which says, no, thank you. I'm not interested. Please move on. And it gets to be that clear. And the right man, if you actually turn that on, they're going to feel it in their body and they're going to be like, okay, I'm out of here. They'll probably be like, geez, gosh, okay, or whatever, because they're toxic versus actually being like, um, okay, I understand. Honestly, with the healthy masculine, he wouldn't do that anyway. He wouldn't force himself upon you, wouldn't force his energy upon you. So again, um, yeah, how do I let a guy down without hurting his feelings? That's not your problem. Mm-mm. Nope. He's a grown man, he's responsible for his own feelings, and most men get turned down a lot. So like it's kind of a part of the process of being it's like their initiation to being a man. Let them be men. Let them deal with their own feelings. It's okay for them to feel. And it's actually more important than for them to feel when a woman means business and means no than it is for her to just placate his feelings and make sure that he's okay. Because that's toxic. That's actually toxic feminine. Well, how can I make him not feel hurt so that way I can kind of keep this relationship around? No, no, no. You have to be clear. That's when you shift into your masculine and you're like, no. So think about it this way. The masculine is a leaning in process. The feminine is a leaning back process. When you're in your masculine, you're leaning in, you're listening, you're clear, you're going for it, blah, blah, blah. When you're a feminine, you're leaning back. So obviously when I'm teaching classes, like I'm leaned in, I'm teaching, but then there are moments when I ask you questions and I'm like, okay, what are they going to say? How are we gonna what's gonna happen here? Or when I'm thinking, how like when I get my little like, oh my God, where do I want to go? Like that's me and my intuition, and that's me in my little creative box. I'm like calculating all the things over here, and I'm dropped into my feminine. Like, what are we supposed to do now? Um, yeah, okay. Makes sense. Clarity, questions, what we got? How are we feeling? Z, I feel like you got so many questions. Go for it. It's okay. Go for it. I want this to feel clearer than it's felt before. The reason why it doesn't feel clear is because there's resistance around it. Because it's a new way of engaging and reacting in your world. It's a new way of being in relationship to somebody you're excited about. And it may take a little while for you to get the gist of this down, and that's okay. So that's why I want you to practice. Like when you feel ready to practice, I want you to practice. I feel like there's so many no's. It feels like when I get yeah. Yeah, so I get it. So like when you finally get a yes, it's like, "Oh my gosh, it's yes." But what if there were no's because you weren't fully in your feminine? What if the no's were there because you were actually trying to lead and control, or maybe you were kind of in your toxic feminine and it just wasn't necessarily it wasn't necessarily because they were no's, it was because the energy wasn't a match, because maybe they were actually in a healthier place than you were at that moment, or vice versa. You have to trust your nose. Again, I say this all the time, your nose lead to your yeses. You have to trust your nose. And when will you get a yes? When you feel clear about what your yes is supposed to look like. That's when you'll get a yes. Right now you're just waiting for any not like you meaning the plural you. If you're in this state of mind, you're waiting for a yes based off of like them choosing you. But like what I'm telling you now is that you are actually supposed to do the choosing. That is nature. Look at nature. Look at all the birds. Look at all the animals. All of them choose their mates. The women, the females choose their mates. We got some weird fucked up notion in society because obviously society is backwards and all wonked up anyway that says that men are choosing us. And that is not true. They never were supposed to. That is outside of nature. A man needs to know that you are exclusively choosing him so that way he can pull out all the stops and use his energy in the most efficient way to provide, to protect, to promote, to support. But until he knows for without a shot of a doubt that you are choosing him, he may only be able to give you so much. And that's okay. Yes. Yes, exactly. That is the key here. Shift your mindset from feeling like you are needing to be chosen by someone. You are choosing, you are choosing, you are choosing, you are choosing. So the drop the hanky is you telling them I'm choosing you. Now, if it's not a match, great. Follow the energy. Follow the feminine, the intuition, which says this ain't it. And sometimes because we may not feel or trust our intuition initially, they may reject us before we have a chance to reject them. But the truth is that the energy was already there that that wasn't a match. So even with your no's or your rejections, just recognize that it's leading you to your yes because you're learning how to engage in the energy in polarity. I don't like to give too much in the beginning. I feel like I want them to show me. Absolutely. But the funny thing is that you want men to show you who are not healthy men. You want the toxic men who are showing you in order to compete with the other men to get you so that way they have you and then all of a sudden now they're ghost. So what you want is you want to acknowledge that like I'm interested in you, but you don't do anything. You let them lead. Like, with Eric, I found him. I was like, "Your beard is cool." I'm, like, "Here for this, ba ba ba." And then he kinda, like, disappeared for, like, 2 weeks, and I didn't, like, chase after him. I didn't, like, do anything. I was like, "Okay, whatever." Started dating some other dude. Then he came back around. He's like, "I'm so sorry. Work got really busy, but I'd love to take you out." And, like, he immediately came back and followed up, and he led. He planned the places that we went. He planned the dates. I just had to show up. There was no part of me that had to do much of anything. I had my car broke down when we were supposed to go on a date, my car, like, broke down or something like that. I was actually supposed to drive closer towards him because he had something planned up there, and he was like, "Oh, well, I really wanna see you, so, like, I'm gonna come down. I know how to fix this, so I'll fix it for you." Like, he just made sure that I knew that he was interested and just, like, I didn't have to do anything. He just showed up, and that was what let me know it was different. I didn't have to give so much in the beginning. Um I felt like that was masculine, so it's good to know it's feminine. Yeah, I know. It's such a mind fuck, isn't it? Showing interest first and picking them. Yes, picking them and letting them come to you and letting them show you like, "Hey, you're interested in me. I want to show you that I'm worthy of being chosen for real. I'm worthy of being exclusive with you." So that's when the courting process happens. But the courting process has to be a process, and this is a whole part of the attraction piece. This is where the polarity really gets kicked up. Because in the courting process, you have to learn to really be in your feminine so you can witness them as a masculine. Because as a strong alpha female, you ain't letting just nobody take care of you. Absolutely not. You can take care of your damn self. So you need them to show that they are capable, financially, physically, emotionally capable of holding all of you. This is so clear now. Yes. It seems like some of these men want me to pursue them. Yes, but no, that's toxic. You are not supposed to pursue. You just choose and then they pursue. And it feels really good for them, right? It feels really good for them. Because they want exclusivity means that you are it's you're like a prize, like men, like hunter gatherer. Let's go back again to like the basis of nature. Hunter gatherer. The men go out to hunt. They hunt the buffalo. They get the best meat to bring back home to the village. Like they hunt. They like that. But they hunt with purpose and intention. And they don't want it to be easy because if it's easy, then it's not exclusive. You didn't really choose them. You just wanted them and others. You just wanted to be validated that you were cute and like fun and whatever. So this is why it's even interesting whenever we go out, like I would always find that I would always get hit on so much more when I was looking like regular than when I was looking like actually like put together. Like I remember in college, I was literally just studying and this guy sat at my table and he's like, "Hi, I want to get to know you." I was like, "Well, that's weird. Okay, cool." Like whatever. And in that regard, I didn't have the same mindset about choosing him first. But it was this idea that like I wasn't trying to be anybody. I was just literally existing in myself. And that felt really safe for a healthy man to be able to like at least initiate conversation so I could choose whether or not I wanted to engage with him more. Cause you're gorgeous, Brittany. Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't looking gorgeous then. I was probably coming back from field hockey, hair in like a half crop bun, and just like, But anyway, yeah, I'm still cute, even when I look crazy. Um, Naturally. You're so sweet. I love you, Z. But see, that's the part that's so fascinating. And honestly, if you listen to most men, they love when women are just ponytailed up, like clean face, like not really like that feels so attractive to them. It feels so real to them. And so when you get dolled up and you go out and with the intention that like I'm trying to find a man, right? It's one thing to get dolled up and go out because you want to, because that feels good and that feels natural. But if you're doing it with the intention to land somebody, so like those days when I would cruise for dudes, like and like try to dress really cute and like have my hair just perfect and my makeup on. Oh my gosh, it'd be a ghost town. It'd be a ghost town. That's because the wrong men because of the energy shift, because what you didn't like you've been waiting for men to choose you. Now you get to choose. So even when you're not dolled up with the right confidence, the right clarity, the right softness, and the eye contact and the smile, bitch. Okay. Yes. There's no way. There's no way. There's just no way. There's no way. With that smile, there's just no way. You guys. So I'm just saying, like, try this on. Try it out. So let's do a little bit of a case study. Okay. Doing pretty good on time. Okay. So a woman, she walks into a bar. She sits down, sees a man whom she's attracted to. What should she do next based off of what we've been talking about? This is your test. Smile. Yes, absolutely. Look at him and smile. Absolutely. Yes, we are passing these tests, bitches. We are passing these tests. Axel, we passing the test, boy. Awesome. Yes, that simple. Hi. We look at him and we smile. So cute. Yeah. Heart, double hearts for that. Um, we look at him and we smile. We look at him and smile. That's it. It gets to be that simple. And if they are unavailable, if they're a good man and they're unavailable, they will not return. Which, don't let that feel like rejection. It means you dodged a bullet, right? So, you know, a lot of this is, again, it's not really a game. It's about trusting that if the energy is meant to be attracted, it will. If it's not, then your body and your energy is already rejecting the things that are not meant for you. So you want to respect that. And the more that you respect that, the easier that this transaction will happen, the faster it will happen. Okay, so next part. This man, he gets your eye contact, he gets his smile, he's like, oh, all right, I got an in. So then he walks over and he introduces himself to you. Um, and he's like a little forceful. And there's that intuitive nudge that's saying, like, something's off. Like, I don't like this. What should you do? I know. What should you do? Based off of what we talked about, what did I tell you to do? Even if it feels hard to do, what should we do? Yes. Nice meeting you, but I'm not interested. Sorry. Yeah. I know. It feels cringy at first. It will feel cringy the first couple times you do it, but no, thank you. Sorry. Actually, I was smiling at somebody behind you. Oh, I'm sorry. I was actually, there was, my friend was behind you. I'm so sorry about that. Excuse me, bartender. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Can you watch my drink? Thank you. And then you go to the bathroom. And then when you come back, you order a new drink because you're not you're not drinking that. If he was there and he's probably spiteful and might could put something in there, fuck it, leave the drink. It's fine. But go excuse yourself. If you can't handle their reaction to your rejection, excuse yourself. At least in the beginning. Over time, it feels pretty normal. What is the saying? Steve Harvey, I think it was Steve Harvey. Was it Steve Harvey? No, it was another author. I can't remember his name. I was like, I feel like I have this book somewhere. It's like Why Men Love Bitches, right? She's like, I got it over there. Yeah, exactly. Why men love bitches? It's because they're exclusive. They're clear. They know what they want. They're confident. So if he ain't it, and if he doesn't take no for an answer, then you really excuse yourself. I said no, thank you. Please leave me alone. And it'll be like that sometimes. You might have to, and that's okay, because a healthy masculine would never do that. And for him to be forceful and like that intense means that they're not healthy and you don't want them. Now your wounded self might be like, oh, look, he's fighting for me. Yeah, no, that's not right. Okay. We're just gonna shut these objections down wherever we can go. All right, next part. So now, you let this person know he ain't it. Thank you, bye. I was waving at the person behind you, whatever. And so you decide to excuse yourself, freshen up, kind of get your bearings back. And as you're walking to the bathroom, you bump into someone that like you really are actually interested in. You look up and he's like, oh wow, he's like really attractive. What do you do? The voice. Ariel, yeah, you say hi. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You say hi. Hi. Because of course he's like so tall. So you're like, oh my God, hi. Yeah. You bump into him. Oh, excuse me. A smile, maybe. That eye contact, the opening. Absolutely. Whether it's a hi or, maybe if you lost your footing. Oh, excuse me. Again, make sure you check for a ring too. Like, don't be touching other people's men because that's bad karma. Um, Sometimes you can't help it, right? Like, because you just don't know. But like, if you do know, obviously, don't say hi. Keep going because that's also really important too, as far as attraction goes. If you are energetically attracting somebody who's emotionally unavailable because they're in a relationship, then you are telling the universe that you really don't want a partnership at all. And so you continue the cycle of emotional unavailability, and that relationship rarely ever comes to fruition the way that you want. And if it does, it's through a lot of pain and it hurts a lot of people. So who wants that kind of karma overload? I feel like I've had enough karma in my life. I don't need that. Like, so just be like really mindful as far as like, and you'll sometimes you just don't know because men fucking lie, but you'll know based off of their healthy masculine frame for the most part. You know, some men are really good at hiding it, and we just can't avoid that. But that's why you take time to court somebody. We're not here for these whirlwind romances anymore because that's not true attraction. Attraction actually grows with time, you know, especially if the thing that holds you to somebody is their wit and their banter and their personality, right? What attracts you is their physicality. What keeps you is their personality. And that only really gets developed, and you can only build trust for someone, especially as an alpha female, um, over time. You have to have enough experiences with somebody to know that they are consistent and that they can offer you more than you can offer yourself. They can actually support you and are responsible in the way that you are responsible. So you don't have to be responsible all the time, all alone. So we bumped into this guy. Okay. We say, hi. Hi. You're so cute. Maybe flip the hair, smile, like, oh, I was just on my way to the bathroom. Where are you sitting? Um, and then how do you keep him engaged? How do you keep him wanting back, wanting more? Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was, life was very interesting. When I finally got this, yeah, like my dates would last forever. Like they would always like want to hang out more. And then I would just choose them and say, no, I mean, when I was toxic, I would just ghost them. But, um, when I had a little bit more clarity about what I wanted, and I felt like I could say no without feeling, without my people pleaser coming out. Yeah, I just would say no, thank you, and just like, you're so kind, but you're not it. Um, So if a guy is not pursuing you, he's just not interested. Um, yes, yeah. A true masculine is very clear about what he wants. You should never not know where you stand with a healthy masculine. And then the same thing for you, right? Like when you're in your healthy masculine, you know what you want, you go for it, don't you? You apply for the jobs you want, you just like you get the things you need. For example, this is such a silly example. Like, say you're in the grocery store and you know what you want to make for dinner. Like, you go and get the ingredients that you need, right? Like, it's not like, oh, well, when maybe if you're not as clear about what you want to make for dinner, but say you told your entire family that you're making, I don't know, chicken piccata. I don't know why I said that. You're gonna go get the ingredients for chicken piccata. You're not gonna like be swayed by this other stuff because your entire family knows what chicken piccata tastes like and looks like, and your chicken piccata is the best, and they just want it to look like this, and so you go get the ingredients. It's the same thing. When you're that clear about what you want, you just go for what you want. You don't get sidetracked. And so a man is that. So how do you keep him engaged? You guys never answered the question, so that's why I'm waiting. Banter, yep. Z, what do you typically do to keep a guy engaged? Banter's one. You could tell them where you're sitting, right? Like, oh, I'd love to get to know you more. You seem really interesting or very interested in you. Um, Another thing is that, oh, so okay, so because obviously we ran into him at the bathroom. So you're just, look and you say hi and like smile, then you go to the bathroom, freshen up, come back out. Yes, flirt. Exactly, flirt. Come back out, and then when you go back to your seat, you find him again, and you look at him and you smile. No, you don't need to compliment him. Mm-mm, no. You don't have to compliment him. You could if you want, but like that's not necessarily, it would be better to have him, again, exclusivity for him to like, I mean, I guess, hang on. Compliments, sometimes the compliments I feel like feel a little too masculine because now you're giving to them already. So you don't want to drop into your masculinity beyond just saying like, maybe when you first like see him and you're like, oh my God, hi, you're cute. Like, and then you smile and you're like, okay. And then you like go to the bathroom and like do your girl thing. And then when you come back out, you would want to find him again. Not like go up to him, find him, but find him through eye contact and then let him come up to you and say, well, I'm ready to engage now. Like now that I've gone to the bathroom, I've done my thing. Because a part of that whole bathroom thing, it's like, um, how do I put it? It kind of leaves them wanting more because they ran into you. There was this moment, there was this spark, there was this connection, and then you kind of disappeared. So chances are he's probably looking for you already, and then when you finally get back to your seat and then you make eye contact with him again, if there's a real connection, it will feel like a real connection, and he should come up to you at that point. Again, a healthy masculine would do that because he'd be very clear about, oh, where's this girl? I've been looking for her. I ran into her at the bathroom. She's so cute. He's probably already telling his friends about you and all the things. And then he finds you again, and then he comes to you at the bar. And then now you keep him there with your personality, with your authenticity, and you'll know that he's interested in you based off of his eye contact, based off of the way that he is attentive and listening, the way that his masculine leans in over you. He'll like want to lean into you. And this is where physically you just kind of lean back because this is like relaxed and safe. Not at the bar. So this is where like anywhere. Honestly, you could do this at a bookstore, girl. You could do this at a coffee shop. You could do this when you're walking around the park. You can do this again, like I said, online is great because it just gives you access to more people. But in the space with online, you don't have to go through all of this as much until obviously you meet. But by then, there's already a notion that you guys have chosen each other. So now it really is about personality, like seeing if your physical matches up with your profile, and then really it's about your personality. And then you get to choose whether or not it actually is vibing or not. So that's why like on the online space, I always encourage my ladies to date, go to a coffee shop or go get a coffee first or go for a walk first. Um, don't sit down to dinner, don't go to dinners and all these things, because if your energy isn't feeling it, now you're doing a disservice to yourself because you're just staying in something you don't really want to be there. But after a coffee, like it's like what, 15 minutes if you want it to be, like, okay, this ain't it. Then you can leave and there's like no harm, no foul. But if you're worried about hurting their feelings, then you're gonna sit there for days. Like whatever, just letting the conversation drone on, even though it's not even what you really want. But it's a lot easier to leave a coffee shop than it is to leave a dinner. Like I would feel really uncomfortable just like standing up and leaving someone at dinner, unless they were just a complete dick. But most people aren't that. Most people are like more subtle about their dickish ways. Yeah. Okay. Does this make sense? I feel like there still might be questions. Let me know. What are we thinking? So, Z, are you just sitting back to receive right now? I love it. I love your posture. But it's true. Like you'll see, like a man will lean into you. He'll want to know more. This is a good sign. This is a really good sign. The eye contact, leaning in, engaging, smiling. And you do the same but from leaning back. And if you're interested in, for men, physical touch can be very is typically one of their love languages. So if you're really interested, you'll do very light, very what's it called, safe touches. So maybe on the shoulder or like right here, if it feels appropriate, like, oh my gosh, like like, oh, you're so funny, you can do that, and that really lets them know, like, oh, she likes me, oh, she likes me, um, that you really do choose him. Okay. Did I answer your question about how not to meet people at the bar? Okay. Yeah. It's literally the same. It's the same formula. It really is not that complicated. We make it more complicated in our minds. But if you can remember polarity, so you're choosing and then you turn and then you switch on your feminine. You're choosing them and then you switch into your feminine. And then your confidence about what you were clear about, your confidence about your clarity is key. What am I looking for? What do I want? How do I want to feel? What's the masculine actually look like? Am I in my feminine? In your healthy feminine, you're safe, you're supported, you're lean back, you're flow, you're playful, you're curious. It's like you're just fun, you're just fucking existing and just having the best time. You're flipping your hair, you're doing all the things. It's like it gets to be that easy. And if they are a good match for you, then they'll pick up on all those cues because you feel dropped in and safe. You feel like you are safe with you and you feel safe in the space. So they're interested in that. I guess it was more like, where do I meet people besides the bar? And you answered it. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, bookstores. I think also so funny. I saw these two TikToks. One was because I live in like a marina. I live close to a marina. So they said this one TikTok was like, get dressed up and go wander the marina where all the boats are and act like you're lost. I was like, no, that is hilarious. Oh my gosh. And then the other one was, you should go, and obviously I think it's happening now or it just happened. But you should go to like the Masters, the golf tournament, or go to like a golf tournament or whatever, because there's so many men there. And there's just like, not that many women in comparison. So if you wanted like a bigger pool of a certain type of demographic, then going to a golf tournament or going and wandering the yachts and looking lost. I saw this other TikTok. It was wandering the airport lounges and looking lost there to get a sugar daddy. So it depends on what you're looking for, but you can do all those things. If you want to have some fun and just play with it. My advice to you is just practice this. Just like go somewhere and practice. Go somewhere that's like local, not an Applebee's, not a Chili's. Go to like a steakhouse, okay? Go to like a nicer place. But take yourself out, go like, if you drink, order a cocktail at the bar, just sit at the bar and just, at a restaurant, not like a bar, but like at a restaurant, and just practice. Practice, see how this works. See how it feels when you do this. The more that you practice, the more that you see your results, it'll feel like, oh, this is actually a tool that I can use, because it does get to be this easy. It doesn't have to be that hard. And oftentimes men are more attracted to your quirkiness than your perfection.